Welcome to CPG Vibes. No script, just chat. We talk all things food and beverage and so much more. Feel our vibe and search for CPG Vibes on Apple Podcast or Spotify, and make sure to give us a 5-star review. If you'd like to sponsor our show with your product or service or be a guest, email us at cpgvibes100@gmail.com. Now your hosts, me, Alex Bear with Genius Juice, and Wade Yeti. All right, welcome to episode 67. I'm always like that number of CPG Vibes. We have an awesome special guest we're going to be bringing out much more quickly than last week's show. I can tell you that much. Wade, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Alex. How you doing?
Doing good. If you're not picking up on it, there's a pretty big rivalry, a nice fun, because they're best friends, but on LinkedIn, kind of fun digital rivalry between this guy we're bringing on and last week's guest, Mark Samuel. So it's going to be a lot of fun to bring him on. Couple laundry list items. Number one, I'm getting over a cold, so I may do some karaoke here. I may do some Barry White because I have that advantage of having that really deep voice, and I got to take advantage of it. Right, Wade?
That's right. Baritone voice going on for you.
Yeah, my darling, I can't get enough of your love, babe. Anyway, that's that. We're going to lose viewers very quickly.
That's it.
Like,
Done.
Done. Show's over. Boom. All right. So some laundry list items here. And I might have to mute myself. I'm coughing or sneezing, but I'm here for you guys. I'm always going to show up no matter what, just like Wade. Even at an airport, he'll show up. All right. So if you'd like to be a guest on our show, make sure to email us at cpgvibes100@gmail.com. If you would like to be a sponsor and actually showcase your product, your beverage, your food item, your service, whatever you do, you're a broker like Sean Berg or Matt Cotton, whatever you do, whatever you love doing and whatever you're good at doing, you could showcase it here. We are doing paid sponsorships so that me and Wade, so we have our homes, a roof over our head. It's very important for us. We have sponsorships starting at $350 per episode. We have hundreds of people that are on here live, and then thousands of people that listen after on Apple Podcasts once it's taped. So if you're interested in becoming a sponsor, we mention you at the beginning of the show, we mention you at the end of the show, and we also will showcase your product and eat or drink your product. So make sure to email cpgvibes100@gmail.com. It's a really great opportunity. It's filling up real fast for the end of the year. So that's that. And
Alex, the other thing I was going to say, the other thing I would say before we bring out our guests is that for those of you that are tuning in new to the show, or in case you forget, we do have a sponsor this week, and that's Sircle, which is a delicious non-alcoholic beverage. And if you want to be open to winning that prize, you have to pay attention to the episode. At some point, we're going to talk about something. We're going to mention something on the show. At the end of the show, there'll be a question that you have to answer. So basically, it's a trivia question, something we covered on the show. So pay attention, stay tuned in, don't go anywhere. So it should be fun. Exactly.
So it's very, very exciting. Our sponsor is great. Their product is awesome. And like we said, you have to pay close attention. 5 stars. If you want to give us 5 stars, we're at 83. I think now. I mean, shit, we were at like 30, I think, a few months back. So we're at 83. We want to get to 100. Help us get there. Go to Apple Podcast. You got 5 on it. We love it. Give us 5 stars. And besides that, I think we're kind of running out of things to talk about, Wade. So we got to bring this guy on now, right?
That's right. Let's stir the pot.
Yeah, that's why we bring on guests, because we just don't have enough shit to talk about here. We just gotta bring on someone that really knows his stuff. He knows his stuff. He's a digital media marketing guy. He's been running his firm, Sircle Media, for many years now. He's been in the space since 1999. Probably the most knowledgeable guy I know about digital media. And he is the founder and president of Sircle Media.
And Sircle with an S. Sircle with an S, because with a C, that's not fun and exciting. It's got to be with an S for smart, because this guy is smart. Let me do some music here, into space music. I don't even know if this even makes sense for him, but we'll bring him on anyway to this music. Adam, how's it going, buddy?
It's going well. I like getting spelling recommendations from an Ohio State fan, which is right out of the gate.
Right out of the gate. Here he goes. You know, I was going to say we should have had some Ashanti music to bring Adam into the show too, because that's how he spends his weekends is Ashanti concerts.
I'll get some clips from and I'll send it to the.
I was going to say, send me a text later with some live streams from the show. That'd be great.
You're going to see Ashanti.
Oh yeah. Going tonight. I'm leaving right from here to go to New Jersey to see a concert of some of your 90s favorites.
Ja Rule, is he going to be there too?
Ja Rule will be there. I'll talk to him about the Fire Festival. And
I was just going to say, is he did he go to jail, or is he? I was going to say, I thought he was busking on the side to make up some money from all the lawsuits.
Apparently, he's still doing his thing. So hopefully, he shows up tonight.
Nice. I listened to some of Ashanti's songs. You know how you kind of go back on that 90s. That kind of 90s train. Like I miss that music. It's such good music. And I'm like listening to, Bush or Nirvana, Metallica. And then Ashanti got thrown into that somehow. And I was playing her song Always on Time, which is one of my favorites from her. I'm sure she's going to play it tonight. So.
For sure.
I don't know if I'm impressed, disturbed, or just deeply bothered that Ashanti. Just off the bat, it's like, boom, he names one. Because if somebody held a gun to my head and say, name your favorite Ashanti song, I'd be like, just pull the trigger. I'm done.
Alex is a cool cat. Alex knows a lot of things about a lot of things. That's what I've learned in my years knowing him.
I love it. Yep. I love it.
Just enough to be dangerous. That's it.
Totally.
I thought you were going to say, Wade, like grouping Metallica and Ashanti in the same sentence. That's sacrilegious, isn't it?
Also tough. Yeah.
All right. So, man, you were on our show before. I was actually over a year ago. I remember we were talking. I actually watched the last episode to get kind of caught up.
Was it really over a year ago? That's amazing.
It was. Yeah, it was right after the Super Bowl. And what's funny is this all comes. There's like rap and R&B vibes every time this guy is on the show, because we were talking about last year's, right after the Super Bowl, last year's halftime performance, which had, Dr. Dre, it had 50 Cent, all the LA rappers, Snoop Dogg. So here we are talking about Ashanti, right? Which is not Snoop Dogg, but at least it's someone. So
I like that I can bring that rhythm to the show. Mix it up with you guys.
There's a lot of comments already coming in here. Again, if you want to shout out, this guy knows a lot about everything, what he said about me, but he just knows more than I do about everything, plus about social media and digital marketing. So tell us, for those that don't know what you do, which I think is almost everyone knows what you do, what do you do?
You'd be surprised how many people I speak to that do not know what we do. I would say that the easiest way to summarize it, we're like a staffing agency. Our startup, which is now 11 years old, solves the pain point of every brand needs a full-time social media manager. It's a full-time job, and it's a full-time job of a lot of disciplines. And so there are no fifth degree black belts. I've never met one in 11 years. And even if you have somebody that works at a brand that's even close, like somebody who's like really, really good, either A, they leave brands to go work at agencies like mine or VaynerMedia because rock stars want to work with other rock stars. They don't stay in a small brand. Or B, there's a short shelf life on social media manager. Like after a while, they're going to want to be an associate brand manager or a brand manager. They're going to want to move up. So it's this mission critical role that's very hard to staff for, even harder to keep in place. And so Sircle Media solves that in an outsourced capacity. It's still 80% of what we do. The last little bit is two things. One, we have a division called Square. So a subdivision, which does outsourced art department content creation for brands, micro content at scale and affordable. And then we have, that's about 15% of our business. And the last 5 is retail velocity support through a product we call Triangle, which is activating influencers, supporting that with paid social. And the last part, which has really become popular in the last year or so, is tying back the efficacy with something like Aisle or Velocity or our card, like showing that people are actually redeeming at retail. Those are the things that we do at Sircle.
Cool. Go ahead.
I just got to say, like, as the list keeps going and going and going, are we going to get into rhombus and like octagon, hexagon? Are we going to have to go all over the place?
Whatever it takes to stay on brand, man. Whatever it takes to stay on brand.
Yeah. Right, so I got to ask the one thing that I want to know is I just looked as you were going through that list. So yeah, Alex is right. It was over a year ago. I want to know what the biggest change in the last 12 months that you've seen with regards to the entire social media world, right? I mean, in the last 14 months, what's been the biggest change that you've seen?
Social media, I would say, other than a handful of brands, D2C is dead. I don't know of any profitable D2C businesses in CPG or beverage. So that full stop. So there's a big migration over to retail and brick and mortar stores. So that's great for us because we've always been swimming in those waters. And I would say CPG layered over that is this economy is just weird. Sircle Media, we do really well when people are flush, when they're like really doubling down. And we do really well when things are really tight, when people cut back their overpaid staff and they need like lean and mean. We don't do really well in the middle. And so I'd say we're really in the middle right now. So we have a lot of like cutbacks, slashing budgets. I used to have a lot of one-call sales. I have none of those anymore. A lot of people are just like really trying to navigate this nasty environment economically. And so that would be the bigger change on top of that. What's up, Matt Weiss?
Nice.
Yeah. It's interesting too. I mean, what are your thoughts? And we'll go through the comments and just we'll reset the room in a sec on going away from paid, the paid ads, right? With Instagram, Facebook, doing that versus organic. Is paid basically dead or dying just because there's so much noise out there right now?
No, it's a golden age for paid social. I think everyone gets it twisted. They think paid is acquisition and CAC and everything with your website, and it's just not. Paid social, well, first of all, Meta is behavior-based targeting. So if you want to target for traffic, you tell it, I want to target for traffic, and that's generally website type stuff. If you want to do it for awareness, you can get better CPMs and you can reach people that, like myself, that are on social but don't actually click on a lot of things, and it can show a lot of targeted impressions to vegans who live in San Diego and shop at Jimbo's. So that's like a really good targeting audience that you can go for. And supply and demand is out of whack. A lot of money has moved away. A lot of people are thinking what you just, like the spirit of what you just asked, Alex. They're like, D2C is dead, so paid social is dead. The truth is paid social is alive and thriving on non-D2C acquisition stuff. So we spend quite a bit of time there. I also spoke to a friend who's doing a lot of lead ads right now. So he's driving 50-cent leads where it's like, here's our product, learn more or get more information or subscribe to this. And he's grabbing those and then doing email funnel sequences to get people to either buy at GoPuff or on his website or elsewhere. And so I think you just want to have the opportunity to talk to a targeted audience, and paid social lets you do that.
Absolutely. I mean, I was talking with an entrepreneur yesterday, and he's been in the business for 11 years, longer than me. I think you said you're in the business 11 years. And he said that the best type of product or the best type of strategy is one where the product's already sold before it hits the shelf. And I'm like, that is so solid. I love that advice. Where like the social, it may not be for direct conversions like you're saying online, but it gets sold to someone who sees it, exposed to it. And then when they see it on the store shelf, or they go hunting for it to find it on the store locator or whatever, when they get pushed to that, and it's already sold. So that's a pretty solid strategy too, right? Just kind of pre-selling it and building that demand before it even launches in a store. Or what do you think?
Totally. And I would bet if you polled most people in the CPG community to identify one brand that's just doing it right and killing it, you would get Midday Squares in the top 3 of everyone's list. And I bet most people have no idea what they sell. I think they go and get the product and they're like, interesting. And then they're like, this is great. That's the power of branding.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. I mean, I lump, Sanzo in that category. I don't go on their social every day. I don't know the ins and outs of it. I know Sandro is a good friend of mine, but it's sparkling water with crushed up Asian inspired fruit. It's like the it's like Spindrift, Asian Spindrift, and so it's being remixed, even though it's an existing category that's been around a long time. But it's like branding, you just see the brand, you're like not sure what it is, but you just you see it and you want to buy it. So it's very interesting how they're pushing that demand to the store. And Wade, I say this so many times on the show, Coconut Cold also does a really great job of that. to the point where I can't find their product right now.
I was going to say there's a fine line. There's a fine line with that supply and demand. It's the thing that we've talked about time and time again, is simply, crawl, walk, run. Once you're on the shelves, my biggest nightmare is an empty shelf, right? So if supply can't keep up with demand, that's not a good thing, because at some point you're going to either forget what you're looking for, or or you're going to try something different, I'm speaking to it from a brand perspective, right? If I have this kick-ass social media and I'm driving people into the store and they're looking for my product, they can't find it. Either they're walking out empty-handed, or they're picking up, in the case of Coconut Cult, something Harmless Harvest or something else in the space. And, does that trigger, oh yeah, I came in for Coconut Cult. The next time they come in, do they keep looking for it? And what does that runway look like? And so it's a real fine line. I mean, certainly, and speaking of Coconut Cult, I love Ari, and I love the whole gang there. And I think, when you look at it, that dollar amount, I love driving that basket, because it's a huge ring. It's a high-end customer, and it's someone that once they try that product, they're going to be hooked. They're going to keep buying it. But if they can't get their hands on it on the retail shelves, that's where I'm my skin crawls a little bit. It's like, what do I do, right? Because how long do I let that space sit empty, waiting for product to come in? So there's a real fine line there.
Yeah, and it's really tough too, because some of these products are so high quality and artisanally made that it takes them a long time to respond to that demand. I mean, there's a reason that the Cybertruck's been delayed like for 4 years, because it's like they're not building a Pinto, right? And so it's really the same thing with, I feel, Midday Squares, where they have their own factory, their own equipment. The chocolate is, like it's high quality chocolate. You can taste it when you open up a bar and have it. And so it's really a challenge for these brands like Coke.
Alex, you cut out there, buddy.
Lost your audio. Oh, wait, I figured maybe you just cut him off. I thought I haven't watched the show in a minute. I thought that's a good tactic to do that.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah. So Adam, how do you address that supply demand? I mean, if you're coaching, someone that you're doing social and your media for, what do you say to that brand as far as, keeping product and, just the right balance of product and demand?
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to overreach and drop the ball or not be able to support it. It's constantly a balance. You don't want to be too small. You don't want to be too big. It's really hard to navigate that. Like, you need smarter planners than me to do that. What I would say is not exactly your question, but a close one to that is, at Expo West, I got a bunch of coupons from True Fruit. I love True Fruit. And I got a bunch from Ithaca Hummus. That's like probably my favorite brand. So like Chris's team gave me a bunch, and True Fruit. So we go to Matter of Health on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. I go 3 times a week. I was there today. And Ithaca's got, 20 facings right when I walk in. One Ithaca grab. I usually grab another one. Done. They don't carry True Fruit. So I went with my kids. We went in. They're looking all around. Couldn't find it. So they saw the Milk Bar, those little sort of like frozen little treats. And then they saw Dream Pops, and they knew Dream Pops because I'm a fan, and Dave's just got good products. And I think they saw like a new SKU, like banana or something. They're like, let's try that. And we took it home, and they're hooked. And now we just keep going back. Lost opportunity for True Fruit there. So I think that's a monster brand. That's a brand that should be meeting people everywhere. That store should be carrying True Fruit. I don't know what's going on.
So that's almost the exact bad case scenario, right? Of what I gave is you're pushing someone in, they're looking for that product, and then they can't find it. So now
right, I think I'm back.
You're
right?
back. You're back. So now not only do they
anyway, you guys keep talking, because I cannot hear you, but keep going.
Okay. So not only do they not pick up your product, but now they're potentially picking up something competitive in the space, and you're driving them to your competition, which that's not good. That's not
totally.
Yeah.
So that's a tough balance. And, frozen in general is such a tough category. So I would say, especially with like a frozen brand, like, don't necessarily worry about national presence and like pushing or like Instagram followers and all these like vanity metrics. Just really, really crush a hyper local. I almost like when a brand is small in like SoCal or Florida or like New York, where they can like support the hell out of Publix or Wegmans or something like that. It's almost better to be nimble than some of these brands coming out of Expo. I can't tell you how many brands are rolling into 1,000+ doors at Walmart or Target or Kroger, and they don't have the budget to support it. They're not prepared in any way. They don't even know what retail velocity support means. It's crazy town. So I almost like it when it's more niche.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. It goes, kind of what I talked about today in my post is simply knowing where you want to go, and if your strategy is everywhere, that's not strategy, right? That's just throwing shit up against a wall and hoping something sticks. And while that might sound good, and the more the better, it's not necessarily the case, and it doesn't result in it goes back to something else I always say is say what you'll do, and do what you say, only say what you'll do, right? And what you will do, emphasizing the will, because getting it on the shelf, quite honestly, is easy. That's the easy part of this, is just sending product out. But if I can't reorder the product as a retailer, if I can't find the product as a customer, you're dead in the water. And I think that's the mistake so many brands make time and time again, is just going out there and, oh, wow, we can get in. You mentioned Walmart, Target, Meijer, some of those big boys, right? Great, we're on the shelf there. But if you're off the shelf in 3 months because you couldn't fill the next PO, or you're bankrupt because you weren't prepared for that spend that it cost you to get in there, you bad moves, right?
I have a question for you on that. Like, I don't understand why some buyers are putting a brand into 400 stores, 500 stores. Are they not asking the question, like, how are you going to support velocity in the stores? Like, what's your plan? Like, I tell brands they should tell buyers their plan. Are buyers not asking the plan or understanding that they can't possibly support it?
I echo that, saying it's a good question, because typically that's one of the first things I always say is being retail ready. Retail ready means your packaging's done. You've got your supply chain lined up. You can support reorders, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And if you're not retail ready, you should be pitching that. Now, from a buyer's perspective, I would hope when we talk about my team, or anyone for that matter, that those questions are being asked. Like, what does that look like? Okay, we're going to put you in X amount of stores. How long is it going to take to fill a replenishment order? And what is your supply chain look like? And, it's, I would think that's kind of like buying 101 to me. But to your point, I don't know, because you see and hear a lot of those bad scenarios going on. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think like I'll meet brands. There's plenty of brands that I meet the brand or the founder, maybe the marketing team, and I'm like, oh yeah, the brand's pretty dope. Maybe they even sent me the product. The product's pretty dope, and even the people might be great. I'm like, that guy's like, or that girl's pretty sharp. I would imagine if I'm a retail buyer, though, I want to know that like the founder or the team behind it are like savages. Like I look at Paul at Ora Bora. That guy's like, they have great branding. They're on it, and he's like a hustler. So I feel like he's going to support, and his team and the people that I've seen on his team that I don't know, but they all seem like sharp. Like those guys are going to make stuff happen. Oh wow, Alex, sound card blew. You can't hear anything. This is our plan, Wade. Alex is out. This is a new show.
I was going to say, we've taken over.
Episode 67 was the one we took over. I love it. So I would want to know, like, and I talk about Mark Samuel all the time, like, all jokes aside, like he's like a hungry agro seller. So I just would believe, and I would certainly ask, but I believe that the people are going to be supporting like aggressively. And I would want to know that as the buyer, because it's a collaborative relationship. We're going into business together as the buyer at Fresh Market and the seller of whatever product. We're both wanting the product to move off the shelves. So I'm going to try to put you in the right spot, but how are you going to make it happen? How aggressive are you going to be?
100%. I say that all the time. It's not rocket science. It's, at the end of the day, we just want to sell more stuff. I mean, that's all we want to do, whether it's you, whether it's me. I mean, you from your side currently, the brand from their side, me from my side, we just want to sell stuff. It's not complicated, but if you have to work together to make that happen, right? And it's not. I always challenge my team, and from the buying side, I always say, if you operate off the mindset that it's the brand side to sell a product, that you're looking at it wrong, right? It's our job to sell a product, and if you go into it with a he they mentality and not a we, you're doomed for failure, because it's just not the right mentality. And I think if you go back, when I started on the buying side, going back, I'm not going to date myself, it's been a while, but if you go back and look the way I was brought up, there was a lot of that old school mentalities in the 80s and going into the 90s. That it was the buyers were against brands, right? It was always about, what can what can I get the lowest price for, and how much can I can I get this for free? Can I get that? And I'll raise my hand and say I was brought up that way, and I was that way initially, but over time I evolved to realize that the more I take from you on my side and don't give the customer, the more difficult it is long term to have a better relationship, because inevitably that's not a path to success. So I'd like to think now that the retail world, or at least the buying side, has changed a little bit, that there aren't that many buyers out there with that same mindset, that old school mentality. I see so many posts, and Gavin's on here, and I know he worked that way at Earth Fair, and some of my friends in the business, that they certainly don't have that old school mentality, but it definitely exists.
Totally. And one hack I think that people don't use enough in this LinkedIn world is, like, if I was a brand and I was launching in like Nashville, I would go to LinkedIn. I'd go to like Michigan alumni groups, all jokes aside, a strong group. I would go to like, who is the biggest connector that that lives in Nashville? And like a friend of a friend would be like, oh, my friend Rick Smith is like literally like the mayor of Nashville. And I would reach out and be like, hey man, talk to me. Like, what do we got? You have kids, you have nieces, nephews, whatever, in college, anyone that and you can network, where it's like, yeah, like I know I can activate some kids that can go in there. There's a lot of colleges in that area, like whatever it might be. I think that a lot of people are scared about using LinkedIn. I use it all day long. I'm on it for hours a day. And that's a great tool to get hyper local, maybe in a market that you're not in, and activate. Alex is back.
Can you hear me?
Oh my gosh!
Wow,
it was going to be I was going to say the Wade and Adams show. I thought we had a thing going there. It was a test run.
Yeah.
I'm just glad I did that as a practical joke for everyone here. Nothing was wrong with my computer. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just glad we have a guest on here, because if it was just you, Wade, I don't know how much you can tap dance for.
Oh like man, I would have turned this episode into an Ask Me Anything and just made the audience carry the show. So, and speaking of which, I don't have my phone here, but I was getting these notifications on my watch to make sure we shout people out. We probably got to go back a little bit and mention some of the comments here, because there's been quite a few that have come in, and Adam and I were just kind of riffing there. So okay,
well, since I'm let me redeem myself for
take control of the wheel. Let Adam and I just sit back for a little bit. Yeah, just drive us to the Ashanti show, would you?
Yeah. And let's make sure we're always on time, right?
Yeah, that's right. Nice, well done.
Nice little pun there.
Yeah.
So we got Tom Malengo with Brandjectory. Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's having a great weekend. Good to see you, Tom, and say hello to your wife and business partner, Susan. We got Courtney Kramer. Can't wait to hear that. This is like literally 30 minutes old. So some of these comments were like, we don't even know what they're referring to. It might be referring to Ashanti, because it was 30 minutes ago. What up, everyone? Ian Nitsky, Hank Watt, congratulations. Was just on Shark Tank and got a deal. Good stuff. They were so blown away with how your product works.
Yeah, that was really cool to watch.
Yeah, I'm just like, it's something that's so awesome that needs more attention and exposure. And then Shark Tank just did that for them. Like this wondrous, for those that don't know, it's a fruit that you put in your mouth, little pebble, and it makes everything taste sweet that is not sweet. So you can take one of these, put in your mouth, this nature's wild berry, and then you bite into a lemon and it turns into an orange. It makes the lemon sweet. It's like for people that need to cut sugar, but they still want that sweet fix. It's pretty remarkable. Stored Press, Next Level Summits. What's up? How you doing, Stored? As we get closer, there is the Next Level Summits in late June. I'm going to be talking more about that on the show. I'm a guest speaker there, which is really exciting. And it was really cool. Last year they had not only me, I mean, I was the headliner, right? But enough about me. They had Ben Goodwin from Olipop there. Like, he was just walking in the hallway. It's like a guy that's going to be a billionaire in 2 years was just there. So that was really cool. Jason Raymond Werner in the same boat. Ironic how it happens when the weather's at its hottest. Oh yeah, that's me getting sick. I thought he was talking about my mic going out. Billy Jackson, Jimbo's, fingers crossed for service. Now we're getting into, I'm going to go a little faster here. Di Moraro, Guru Energy, Sean Berg, the Mr. What is he at? 156,000 followers now?
I was going to say, I think he's going to be the million man. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's going to be the first CPG broker to get to 1 million, followers. All right, Gavin Conkle, thank you for the 8 cases of True. I appreciate it. Man, I mean, are you blowing through that weight or what?
I've been drinking it every day. I've had one of the wake up ones in the morning. I'm having the go to sleep ones, the little shot things at night. Supporting Gavin and True. I enjoy it. I went back to his booth several times at Expo. So good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, really cool booth. Did you see their booth, Adam, in the main hall?
Yep.
Cool. Simplest booth ever.
Very
Fridges
simple.
in the back, no table, and they're just talking with people. That's it.
Straightforward.
Yeah. Next year, I'm just going to show up where, how they have like the banner that they put up, like Expo West puts it up with the company name. That's the only decorative we're going to have on our booth. That's it. And me with the Einstein wig.
Yeah. So we have a question from Gavin, but I've got a question for Adam after we answer Gavin's question. So do we have his?
Let me speed ahead. Michael Bendos, a couple more, but let's go ahead to Gavin's question here. You might need to nail it for me, Wade, because I'm having trouble finding it.
You had it up, but you took it down.
Oh, that was the one.
That was it. I got it.
You got it. Okay. All right. What's the best way an emerging brand to interact on social? Is there boundaries? What kind of goals should they set? From Gavin Conkle, True Drinks.
That's teed up for me. I'll try to answer what I think he's asking. You should be interacting on social. So that's in and of itself. A lot of brands are not. They're outsourcing to freelancers, or they hired like a small content shop. There's a lot of these that like do content and they're like, yeah, we'll also do your social, and they just don't. So it's very one way. Sort of defeats the purpose of social, because social is 2-way. So you have a lot of outgoing and no responding. Or there's a lot of brands, you were joking before, Alex, about the emojis. There's a lot of brands that are in these like CPG bots. So you'll see they get a lot of comments but a lot of the comments are from other CPG brands. So it's mostly trash. So I guess answering the last question, like that didn't do anything years ago. It certainly doesn't do anything now. It might make a C-suite person or an investor be like, oh, we get a lot of engagement. But it doesn't help you much if like 42 CPG brands liked your post. What I would care about more is, what is your main sales channel? For most brands, it's retail. Who are the key retailers or key stores and doors? You can usually ask your buyer. And I would just be like thermonuclear on supporting those, proving out, making somebody like Wade, who's my buyer, super stoked and thrilled about working with me. And then I would use that, maybe even get a testimonial from him, throw it in my sales deck to go pitch other retailers. Like I think more than ever, your KPIs on successful social media are your support of retail velocity and proving that you can move the needle. No likes, no comments, no followers, none of that matters. That is where you should be focusing right now. And boundaries, I would show up as a human the same way as I show up as a brand. I wouldn't be too structured. I wouldn't be too aggro or aggressive. There are some brands that I think are too aggressive. I think you should just speak your truth. Now, I think the brands that really resonate, Molly from my team posted something about this after the Velocity Summit that Visor did last week. I don't know if you guys know about that one with Dylan Barber. It was great. And I think the big standout for bigger brands like J. Carl's, or I guess, I don't know, maybe their revenue is a little bit bigger. But like Dream Pops and Chubbies, all these guys are showing their trials and tribulations, showing the behind the scenes. The founders are in the mix. And so you should be doing that and just speak your truth. It really resonates with people. And that makes you a brand and not just a commodity.
I think that's just such a good segue, because I was going to pry you a little bit about, you hear so many times, be genuine and tell, people want that connection. And, I'll be the first to admit, when I first started hearing and seeing that, I was like, come on, but that's the old school me. And as an individual, taking my buyer's hat off and looking what I look at on social media, specifically TikTok, I get wrapped up into, there's a guy, and I want to say his name's like Big Jake, right? It's this kid. I say kid, he's younger than I am. Southern. He's a guy that does barbecue, and he's you listen to him, and he's not a movie star. He's not, anything fabulous as far as looks or anything like that, but he's genuine, right? He's a Southern guy, just cooking, you do everything from a steak to, I don't know, he did some kind of, I don't know what it was, stuffed jalapeno things, but he's genuine. This guy is out fishing with his family on the weekend, and he's cooking for his family, and you're looking at this, and he's just talking from his heart about these recipes and things like that. And he's got hundreds of thousands of followers. And, if you put that guy on a stage, I don't know, 5 years ago, you throw TikTok out the window 5 years ago and said, what's this guy? Who's going to listen to him, right? But it's like, he's almost like a modern day, remember the guy, the Cajun, I can't think of what his name was, the guy that did the old school Cajun.
Emeril Lagasse?
No, the Justin, his name was Justin something. He had this thick Louisiana down south accent. But anyways, he's like a modern day that, right? People are invested in this kid and what he's doing and what he's saying. And it's just, to me, it just kind of brings merit to that whole approach that, trials, tribulations, good, bad, otherwise, people want to be invested in your brand, and you, as a founder, as a spokesperson for the brand. Danos, right? I mean, look at Danos, the perfect example, right? I mean, it's just a guy. Here he is, and I watched a video a couple weeks ago of him. He made something. I think it was gumbo, and he didn't hit it. He wasn't true to a gumbo, a traditional gumbo, and people gave him a hard time. And he owned up to it. Came back and made another one. He's like, "Hey, you guys give me a hard time. Boom, here it is." But it's like that kind of interaction, I think, are what people are just really gravitating to.
Yeah.
No doubt. And that's why you need to show up consistently. Like and I keep talking about Jake and Midday Squares, but like I saw Jake at a pop-up grocer event last Thursday, and I follow him on Instagram. I see he like flew into New York. He had 17 meetings. He like does not stop. He like rolls up. And if I showed up at that place and he was like this totally buttoned up introvert guy, totally different from his persona, it would be a conflict for me. But it's not. He really is that, and you're seeing that. And so I want to support them and their journey and their fight against big chocolate and self-manufacturing and the therapy they all go to. Like, I really resonate with all that kind of stuff. And, look, it's funny. I'm on with you guys, and we just got on this call, even the pre-call, and we're like old friends, right? I've never met Wade, and I've only met Alex once at Expo West. It's crazy, right? Mm-hmm. We have this like social connection. I know about the baby, and I know about him taking up golf, and I know about your traveling across the country to North Carolina. Like, this story is what brings us all together as humans on LinkedIn. And so the same is true from brands with entrepreneurial founders. And it's a big mistake to leave, pun intended, to leave that golf club in the bag. I think you really compromise your results.
Exactly. I mean, it's, as human beings, I mean, I have a life coach now that I got referred actually from Matt Cotton at Rooted Food Sales. He sent me a really great life coach that when you're authentic and you're just yourself, you let in the right people, the people that you're going to truly, that are going to connect with you, and you're going to connect with them. And then the people that are not meant for you, they're not your personality. They just, they don't come into your life. And totally. So I think it's really great. And I think with social, it's the same exact thing where you don't need to attract everyone. You just got to attract the right people that love what you do. Tribe, like Seth Godin's book, right? Tribes, which is a great book about, you don't need everyone. If out of 1,000 people, if you get 5 of those 1,000 people, that 1,000 people that go to a supermarket, if you get 5 of those people that are obsessed with coconut smoothies or obsessed with coconut cold or obsessed with Midday Squares, that's enough. Those 5 people in that store is enough to carry that store, because they're going to go in every single week and buy the product. And especially if you have a gotta have it. What I love about this industry is the brands that have a gotta have it type product, where you have to go back to that store and buy it. And Wade, from your perspective, that really brings up the ring every single week when you have repeat customers that, like, I need to restock on this because I'm out, and they go get Olipop or whatever they get, and then they come back to your store and they're buying other things because they're in your store. So it's so authenticity is huge. And like, I realize whatever I do in my life, whether it's friends, family, golf, on here, that just to be myself. And if you don't like me, it's all good. If you like me, even better.
Right on. So I have a couple of things I want to ask Adam. I want to ask him about Expo, but I also want to ask a little bit about, so as a service provider, right, the mentality to me, or I think to the masses as a whole, would simply be like, you are fishing for clients, right? And as opposed to clients necessarily coming to you and pitching, hey, I want you to represent me. So I'm curious as to whether if there's something that a brand, if you were giving advice for a brand to, when they're trying to work with you, for example, is there something that they could do that would rub you the wrong way and say, hey, thanks, but no thanks. We're not the service for you, or we're not the agency for you. Is there something that that you feel, obviously you're not picking up every single brand for a reason, right? Is there something that would just be a red flag to you off the start that would say, hey, go someplace else, or, obviously you're going to do it tactfully, but.
Well, tobacco and firearms would probably be out for me. No, I mean,
CBD though is good though, right?
I have had such bad experience with every CBD brand I've ever worked with that I actually don't even, if I saw a CBD brand lead come in, I would probably take the call, but I would probably be very guarded. Although I like the cannabis space a lot, I think there's going to be a lot of branding and a lot of marketing and storytelling, so I'm intrigued by that. But CBD's been terrible. We fire like 2 or 3 clients a year, Wade, and it sucks. The sales
outside of, I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but outside of not being paid, what would be a reasoning for you to cut ties?
Like just disrespect for the team, not allowing us to do what we need to do. A lot of people really disrespect service providers, and I think a lot of people disrespect social in general. So you put those two together, there's just a lot of like visceral, like negativity. I call it like sunning. There's a lot of like being sunned by brands, and it's such a waste of time. And so I've become very protective of my team. Earlier on, when it was just me and like one other person, and I was like managing 12 brand social accounts myself, I was like, I get thick skin. I'm a salesman. I'm from New York. I could take anything, but I care much more about how they treat my team than even me. So my team will say to me, like, I cannot believe that you just sat there on the call and took that abuse. And I'm like, yeah, like, whatever. There's something else going on. I have empathy. They have pressures. They don't understand. I'm fine with it. But that would be the biggest reason, like just like blatant disrespect and not allowing us to do. And we get a lot of that. And it sucks. And it's some of them are some big brands that are in stores that have done, and it's the bigger they are, the harder it is to fire them. But it's what you got to do. Up front, I would say, as long as they're in food and beverage, mostly the better for you set. And I just ask up front, like, what's your revenue? Like, I'll ask that in the first 3 minutes. So I used to think that was like very aggressive to ask on the first date. But I like to ask it up front, because if they're not at $3 million run rate, our full package won't make sense. And so I'll tell them, listen, if you were my brother or you were my sister, you're not there yet. So here's what I would do for the next 6 months on your own. And if you listen to what I say, I think it will work. And then I want you to keep me updated. And a bunch of brands I've done that with have like kept me updated and been like, that was the sickest, dopest advice. Everyone else tried to sell me. And I'd rather just like not waste our time or their time. So I would say maybe it's not even 3 million. It's probably even more now, given where the environment, where the economy is. But we've opened up our aperture with content and with retail to be able to work with bigger brands and earlier stage brands so that we can help them in some way. But sometimes that's the Mendoza line, Wade, where I'm like, you're just not ready. So let's just pause this conversation until you are.
So Adam just threw out
100%.
two things there that make him one of the best in the business. And I don't need to blow smoke at him because first of all, he's from Michigan, but second of all, he's not paid to be here. But and Bendo stole my thunder as far as you get so much respect and so much integrity and just loyalty from your people when you protect them the way you mentioned as far as that goes. That's you can't put a dollar figure on that, because you being that way, like, I'm going to take care of my people before I take care of the person that's writing a check. That's just fabulous. And then number two is the same integrity, and probably even more so for you to say, hey, Joe Brand, I'm not going to take your check because I'm not right for you right now. I mean, just the fact that you do that, I mean, it's immeasurable from a respect standpoint. And it just goes to show why you're the guy in the space. And that kind of mentality and that kind of attitude is going to pay you dividends 100 times over. And I know it already has. So
I appreciate
kudos. Yeah, for real.
Yeah. And when you're really great at what you do, like Adam is, then, clients will be plentiful long term, and you also get to choose who you want to work with. So it's kind of like when you put out great work, great content, you treat your staff well, your staff is happy working with you and your team members, and they want to stay with you long term, which makes them even better and more valuable, and they're really great at what they do. If someone's being a total asshole to you, you have that power just to be like, this energy's off. In all due respect, I'm not working with you anymore. And it's like, yeah, I'll miss the money, but you know what? Maybe I won't, because I have other clients that I'm with that I'm really happy with. And that goes into like a whole other higher level of being of service, right? Like, you're a service provider, but you want to be of service energetically with the people you work with, and you want to add value. So by having that higher level of service and being selfless and really wanting people to succeed, that shines off you, Adam, and your posts and how much you care about your people. All the videos you have, at Expo, where like you have your staff there and you're all trying different products, and you have like office stuff, events, and you can, you introduce people to your staff, right? And all these videos, it shows you truly love what you do. And when you truly love what you do, everything else follows: success, money, and you also attract the right clients. So, yeah,
for sure. And that goes back to what we were talking about before. Like, I'm a founder. I always say, like, I'm a CPG founder. I just happen to own an agency. Like, that's how long I am in this category. So I'm practicing what I preach. Like, none of that stage. Like, we love the team. We have really strong, powerful, confident females. We're 93% female. That's how I have a wife, two daughters, and a female dog. Like, that's the kind of smart people I like to surround myself with. We had never gone to expos before last year, so we've only done 3 now, and like, we're all about it, and we go hard when we go, and we have fun with it. And I want people to see it. Now, some people might see my stuff and be like, he's very opinionated, I don't want to have him on my team, and maybe I lose business for that. But for the most part, I think, wave the magic wand, most people would want somebody that would stand their ground and not be a yes man to help them as an agency. And so that's just my personality. It's just always how I've been. And so I think it's benefited us. The one problem is that we're so long in CPG and beverage, and it's such an incestuous community, that it is dangerous when you fire someone, because if you fire a client, they're not going to go around and be like, you know what, we were not nice and Sircle let us go. It's going to be an L for Sircle. So when brand tennis ball gets fired by me, and I do it politely, it's never out of disrespect. It's like what you said, the energy's not there. We're like an outsourced employee, and like we're putting in our 2 weeks notice. Like, it's just not working out. We only wish you well. We love you. We're never going to talk badly about you, but like, let's part ways. But when they leave, it's an L. So if somebody calls them for a reference, they're going to be like, team was the worst. They couldn't get it together. That guy, Adam, so it's just really tough. So I try to put as much good energy out there. I try to get as many recommendations on LinkedIn. I posted one this week. I have over 100 now. I think it's so important to get people to actually put pen to paper or to actually type and give their endorsement. It goes a long way to offset that, because it is a real tricky thing when you're letting go of clients. You're almost always going to take the L yourself.
It's interesting. Yeah, I guess it's always a balancing act. And The point is you're prioritizing your happiness and your team's happiness over, reputation and money, because at the end of the day, when you help enough people, the good is going to outweigh the bad, right? By
Agreed.
far. Yeah. And the bad will just wash away. So I want to reset the room here because we have some comments to go through, and then we want to get into our next segment because we are running short on time, and I don't want Wade to bail out early for dinner. So
no, I'm going to stick tight because I do have. Let me ask this before you do this, just real quick. I'm going to put Adam on the spot, and
sure,
we're tight on time. So clients aside, Expo West, what I want to know is one brand, non-client, that blew you away at Expo West, and why?
Besides
that brand,
Genius Juice.
That brand Tyndall, it's a plant-based chicken, competes with Daring. They're, I guess, the founders in Singapore. Their marketing team is in Germany. They were in one of the big halls, like A, B, or C. Like, I'd never heard of them before. And my team members came and got me from E and brought me over to this booth. And we had it, and it was insane. Really, really good. They also own a yogurt, a sorbet company, plant-based, that they also bought called Moi or something like that, under the same banner. And it was delicious. I don't even usually go for that plant-based chicken stuff, but it was insanely good. And I subsequently spoken to the marketing team. Hopefully we'll work with them. But that was a brand that really stood out to me.
That's interesting because if I didn't know you better, I would say, were you in my inbox today? Because JJ Cass with Tyndall and I were exchanging messages today. She was prodding me a little bit about our brand, and coincidentally, her dad lives in Ohio. I just want to make sure you know that. And she sent me a nice picture of her dad wearing some Buckeyes gear, just back and forth today based on my post. So I want to
retract. I want to retract my statement.
I love it that you brought that up. So, but I tagged her here in case she's not watching. But that's awesome. So
yeah, I thought it was really
funny.
Good.
That's awesome. Good.
So wait, I'm gonna turn the tables on you. What is one brand with no whether a business affiliation or not, but something you saw at Expo, and I'm gonna make it a little easier for you. An emerging brand that may not be national yet. They're not East Coast, West Coast. They're just in their local region that you discovered. We were like, holy crap, this is really, really good. And I hope they get national.
Man, you put me on the spot, and my goodness.
Got to do it.
Well, I mean, if I'm looking at people that, I'm connected with, and obviously, there's so many people out there. I mean, I'm just going to name the regulars that I want to see succeed and grow, right? Balani, David Delcourt, the guys that are out there hustling. I mean, you look at David. I mean, the guy's wearing that yellow jumpsuit, and I mean, he lives the gimmick 24/7, right? It's the same thing with Bilal. I mean, these guys are out there just putting blood, sweat, and tears, literally, into their brand. And if you don't root for a person like that, regardless if you like their product or not, I mean, if you don't respect that passion and that energy and that hustle, I mean, come on. I mean, so that's probably the easy road out. But for me, and we've talked about this, Expo for me was connecting with a lot of people that I've met over the last 2 years, with COVID and through my transition from Louisiana to California to North Carolina, seeing them in person and shaking hands and kissing babies and hugging people, except Adam because he wasn't around. But really just really connecting with people and catching up. But it was, calling it what it was very hard to navigate that show. I mean, it was just so packed. And if I went there with outside of what I went there, to connect and so on and so forth, if I went there from a buyer's mentality, I would have been challenged for it to be overly productive, because if I spent a meaningful amount of time with a brand at a booth, it would have deterred me from getting around the way I wanted to get around. I mean, it was just that congested and hard from a buying perspective, at least in my opinion. I'm sure there's 100 people that would tell you otherwise, but what I wanted to do, it was successful. I don't know if it would have been successful if I had my full blown buyer's hat on. I wouldn't have made contact with nearly as many people as I did. So.
Yeah, and you serve a damn good Genius Colada, that's for sure.
I didn't get a chance to have that. I did not see Wade, but yeah, Bilal is one of my favorite. His family, they sent me a bunch of products, so good. And David reached out to me after on his hustle, sent me some product. Great. Have been trying it at home. So again, putting yourself out there, you make serendipity happen. I'm a buyer of both those guys.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. I love those. I know we're kind of getting over time, but those entrepreneurs that are humble, super nice, work really hard, and they're not afraid to get their hands dirty and talk with everyone about their brand and like send every, even like what I love about these entrepreneurs is even if they don't directly benefit, right, off sending product to you, they just love what they do and love their product and they love us, and they send product to us. Bilal sent me probably $100 over or more worth of product, consistently, maybe every 4 to 6 months. And he does it because he cares, not because he knows, oh my, I'm a buyer or, that I'm going to do something for him. So I think people that do things without expecting anything in return, those are the real winners, in my opinion.
Amen.
Right on.
So Mela is the one that I stood out to me at Expo West. I mean, beyond the brands that you guys mentioned, the watermelon water, which I know has had kind of a shaky past, right? Just that category has been really, New York, right? New York born watermelon water, the brand watermelon water. Yeah. But he's reinventing it in a can, shelf stable, $2.99 everyday price point, and really good. I mean, he sources it, I think, all over the world, and it's excellent. Vietnam is where he goes, and it's really, really good. And then Dom, the CEO, is a grinder. I don't know if you met him, Adam, but he's a grind. Super young guy. He's in his 20s, and he just grinds it out, and a lot of energy. They gave out over 5,000 cans at Expo West, and a hat. So let's get to our next segment here.
Guys, I think I have to run. I think Ashanti's calling, and I have a bunch of people waiting downstairs. So
do your thing, man.
I appreciate you having me. This is definitely better than last week's. I mean, let's just call it what it is.
We'll let the audience. We might have to put a poll out there.
I already forgot last week.
We should book my third. I think after 5, I get a jacket or something. Like
that's why we referred to it. So I think that'd be good. Yep.
Let's get on that. I want to book it. I'll always go right after Mark. So just whenever you have that, I'll get in there. But I really appreciate you guys. Keep doing the good work. You guys have really come a long way. I remember, Alex, when you were launching this and we were talking about it. Yeah. It's awesome. Friday afternoon, you get all these people on the East Coast. It's crazy. So I really appreciate it. Keep up the good work, and I'll let you know how the concert goes.
Appreciate you. I'm waiting for those live videos, Adam.
Yeah, me too. Send some videos.
All right.
Take care. Have a good time.
See you, buddy.
All right. So Wade, I know we're over time here. I'd like to do a few shout outs before we go to our stuff we love. Is that cool with you?
Nope, that's fine.
Nope, that's fine.
Nope, that's fine.
Nope.
Nope. Do it.
That's hilarious. All right. Paradox. It's like, how you doing? I'm doing terribly fine. Thank you.
That's right.
All right. So Annie Wu, sweet duet, singular, great chocolate. Hey guys, happy Friday. We have also Tyler Ball, who said something really nice because I went golfing with him. He's a hell of a golfer for 2 years in. I can't find it, but he said that. Michael Bendos, Quantum Energy Squares, you can say it. That was when we were talking about brands at Expo. Laurel Orley with Daily Crunch. My 5-year-old has announced he's a vegan. I must order this brand. That's Tyndall. Sean Berg, Tyndall's good. I got to check out this Tyndall stuff because I'm a vegetarian.
I tagged JJ somewhere in there. JJ Cass is there. So there you go. Right there.
Cool. I'll check it out. JJ Cass. And then Bilal's on the grind. That's Billy Jackson. A couple more here, and we'll get to our stuff we love, and then our prize. And here's Laura Orley. Watermelon Water is the OG. The founder, Jody, is a good friend and helped start the trend. And yep. And I think that's about it. So stuff we love, and we got to blow through this because we got our prize that people are waiting on, which is Sircle. And it's going to be valued at $100. It's an amazing, sparkling, functional drink that I'm not even a sparkling drink fan, and I was blown away by their flavors. Blown away. And it's so clean. So clean. So thank you for sponsoring. But let's go to stuff we love. And here we go. I'm just going to knock mine out really quick.
I was going to say, cover me, because we went from our last call to this one. I didn't even have a chance to grab anything. So you go.
You got it. All right. So I'm under the weather. So the Suja immunity shot. I mean, I love other immunity shots as well. I love Vive and Core, but I got this at Costco, and the cost of this was a 12 pack for $15. That's a lot less than $3 a bottle at, Ralph's. So Costco, Suja immunity shot. The other one that I'm on a huge kick. You know what this is? I'm not going to show you the brand. What is this?
Mudwater.
Yeah, Mudwater.
I don't get me started on that. I've been a fan since forever. So have you only done the morning? Have you done the evening one as well?
I have not done the evening one. So what is that one?
Well, that one's called Rise, right?
This one's the Rise cacao one. So how's the night one? How's the night one different?
Well, I think. Well, obviously it has different. It has different ingredients, right?
More relaxative, maybe.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it is more about the ritual, right? It's about winding down, and there's something to be said about that one. That one's called Rest, and it has reishi, it has valerian root, it has chai, it has turkey tail, but it's more about resting and just you make the drink in the evening, you're winding down. Same thing in the morning, you got your cup of coffee, or in this case mud water, and that has cacao, lion's mane, cordyceps, chaga, reishi. The evening is a different blend, just intended to help you rest. And both of them, fabulous product. It speaks for itself. And like I said, I think there's a lot to be said about if you buy one of those packages, they send you a little frother to, as far as USB charge to mix things up.
Yep.
And what I recommend, Alex, if you haven't tried this, with that, I got to find it before I say it. Before a friend of the show, Rising Tide, the creamer, right? The vegan creamer.
Yep.
Put that in your mud water.
It's like mind blown. The Rising Tide has MCT oil and lion's mane, and it also has coconut sugar. Because this is mud water by itself is not super sweet. It's actually pretty bitter. Because it has cacao and it has mushrooms in it. It has some, cinnamon and other things to kind of lighten up. So it's not terrible. But if you put in some Rising Tide to make it creamy and a little sweeter.
That and the other pro tip is add in my case, my buddy Michael Bell, Monocora honey.
Yeah.
A teaspoon
Manuka.
of that. So I haven't made this in a while because, I think I'm out of all these things. So, hint. But you take your mud water, Rising Tide, Monocora, make yourself a drink, and just forget about it. That's like a $6 drink all day at Starbucks, all day.
Exactly, and way healthier, man. Yeah. To one up you, I do hot water. I put in honey, just like what you're saying. I put in mud water. I put in Rising Tide, and then I put a little bit of oat milk to top it off. Califia oat milk. Or Minor Figure oat milk, which is also really good. And it's like a dessert with all the benefits. It's amazing. And he said, hint. I just want to stop there. If you want to send this product, either swag to wear, because I haven't gotten swag in a while. Wait, I don't know about it.
I've got this plain T-shirt on. That's all I've got, or work shirt. That's all I've got on today. So
nice. You're representing yourself because there's no brand name. Yeah.
Exactly.
But I have the Hue hat. I love Hue chocolate. They sent me this hat. So if you want to send us some swag that we will wear for this entire hour and 5-hour episode, however long this thing goes, that's an hour, right? I think.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, but we're over every week. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's the bonus. That's the bonus that you get, right?
Yeah, that's the bonus. And if you have something that's really good that we will actually drink and eat it during the show, especially Wade, because he gets hungry during the show. It's right before.
I do get hungry because on the East Coast it's pushing 7 o'clock, and I'm up usually about 4 a.m. So yeah, this is hard.
Yeah, you got to get that. Got to get those calories in.
It's a labor of love.
Yeah, exactly. So email cpgvibes100@gmail.com if you would like to send us some stuff. We'll give you your addresses, and of course, if you'd like to sponsor, $350 is the intro rate. We do a 30% off deal if you'd like to sponsor our episodes. So make sure to reach out to us, and sponsorships are filling up fast. Our permanent sponsor, speaking of that, is V-Driven. I just saw Alex on here, Barova at V-Driven. So a little bit about them. And so I'll handle the V-Driven part, Wade, and you can handle the prize. And this will give you that valuable 45 seconds to think of a question Because
no. See, the way this works is you give V driven, I do the sponsor. You think the sponsor or the question, well, I'm doing the sponsor. That's the way we usually do it.
Turn the tables back
Yes.
on me.
Well, plus you had all that downtime when you went off the air and all that.
Dude, I was trying to figure out how to fix everything during that downtime. It's not like I was, I didn't go and watch Netflix or something.
Right.
Man, I was panicking over here. It was actually, we have good health insurance here at CPG Vibes. I might need to go see a therapist because of that trauma of being off the air for so long. All right. So V Driven, what's up, Luke? What's up, Alex? Thanks for joining us on this episode. They are a CPG partner for emerging purpose-driven brands. I actually referred them a brand today, actually, that's most likely, hopefully going to hire them. And they fuel growth and innovation, providing strategies in every phase of the retail journey. From leadership coaching, brand management, they do back office accounting for you for a very affordable rate. They're like an outsourced CFO for you. Day-to-day tactical support. They also do trade spend management. So if you have deductions, which last time I checked, Wade, in this business, everyone does, good, bad, and ugly, they will check them for you. And the ones that maybe are not right, they will fight them and get your money back from some of these distributors. So anyway, that's V Driven. That's V as in velocity driven.com. And then the email is Luke, Luke .Abbott, ABBOTT at vdriven.com. All right. Now let me think of the question while you're talking about your.
Okay. Yeah. You want me to talk slow? So we've talked about this brand throughout the show, the beginning, the middle, during. Alex loves it. I do as well. The brand is Sircle, and I'm going to try and multitask here and put it in the chat as we're talking here. Let's see. There we go. So the brand is Sircle, and Sircle provides streamlined focus and physical energy without the crash. Enjoy an innovative, full flavor beverage free from refined sugar or artificial ingredients. So the prize that we're going to give away, courtesy of Sarah Delaney and Drink Sircle, is 2 cases of Sircle and a Sircle trucker hat. So that's roughly, as Alex mentioned, roughly a $100 value. Just talking about them, though, it's super clean, right? I'm looking at the ingredients for their flavor, their lemon black flavor. Okay, so listen to these ingredients. Brewed organic tea blend, which consists of, not that I need to tell you this, that it's clean, but carbonated filtered water, organic black tea, and organic silver tips tea, organic lemon juice concentrate, and organic cane sugar. So you got a tea blend, lemon juice, cane sugar, boom, done, right? And so looking at their brands, you can find them again in the chat, or I put the link, drinksirilla.com, but I'm waiting for my internet to catch up with me as far as some of their flavors go. But they have the lemon black that I mentioned. They have green hibiscus. They have white ginger, apple black, Tulsi, chamomile lime, vanilla rubius, and just fantastic stuff. Good people. Sarah, I don't know if she's still tuned in or not, but just a great brand. Lucky to have them as a sponsor, and excited to see who's going to win to try and become a fan like Alex and I are. So, Alex, did I talk slowly enough for you to come up with a question?
Not slowly enough, but you talked a lot, so that gave me some time. It's giving you shit. So, all right. So the question, it's a really kind of very obscure question. We just had who was our guest? This one, I'm just kidding. So the guy who is what Ashanti concert is he going to? No. Okay. So last year we had the same guest on, Adam Brown from Sircle Media. And there was one thing in the beginning, somewhere in this episode, we talked about what we chatted about in that last episode. It was one thing that happened it was right after, right before we had Adam on the last time last year. What was that event that we talked about? That's a hard one. That's a hard one to me because I said it once and I said it quick.
So while we're waiting for those answers to come in and thinking of probably another question because you asked one that's too hard, we need to reiterate. We talked about sponsors. We talked, actually, Alex, correct me if I'm wrong. We have an opening for next week.
We do. Yeah, someone had to move it. They had to move back because they wanted to be live for the episode. So we had someone that moved it to later in the year, and now it is open for next week. And instead of $500 for the spot, it's $350. So you can grab that spot. You know, you get hundreds of people that are on here that are tuning in, thousands on Apple Podcasts. So take advantage.
The first answer I saw come in is Mr. Billy Jackson.
So let's there was a certain event at the Super Bowl, but if no one else gets that, I mean, that's pretty easy. Maybe he should get it, right? I think that's close enough.
I'd say it is.
Yeah, and I love Billy. He's a good guy, great guy. And he needs some Cirillo while he's skateboarding the streets of San Diego, you know.
Exactly. The mean streets of San Diego.
The mean streets of San Diego. So all right, so Billy Jackson, and just to dig deeper, it was the halftime show at the Super Bowl with the rap concert, all the 90s rap stars. But that is definitely close enough. Billy, you've definitely been taking your Mudwater and Genius shots today, so you thought of the answer. So that's it. So make sure to email cpgvibes100@gmail.com to claim your prize, and we will connect you with Sarah Stender Delaney. And next week, it's glamorous. No guests, just us. And it'll be episode 68. But after next week, and again, there's that opening for a sponsorship, so make sure to reach out to us.
We just had somebody, it's not showing up for me who that is. Is that Scott?
Yeah, let's see. Baby Well. Yeah, Scott, it's Scott Hardman. There we go. And it's Baby Well, a product that he must be representing. So okay, and I'm all about babies, right? We have a 6-month-old, so I'm good with that.
Yeah. Scott, reach out to Alex, myself, or cpgvibes100@gmail.com. We'll work out the specifics. But Alex, I've been threatening, I've threatened to do this, or we should do this a few weeks ago, and maybe next week without a guest, it would be a good time to do it. Is talk a little bit about category reviews. I posted a little bit today. I'm going to have something next week talking a little bit more about it, but just kind of talking a little bit about the process, talking a little bit about answering questions, and just some different things. So maybe you and I can, we can kind of pencil that in unless something significant happens in the next 7 days, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and then I think that's a great idea, and we're also thinking of new concepts, right, to bring to the show that we talked about. Again, this is no script. Just chat. We're going to have, potentially the CPG pitch slam, right? We're working on that. We have brands on that literally will pitch our audience for, 5 minutes. We have, let's call it 10 brands on that do that. It's kind of like a rapid fire. And we're also working on getting an investor that could be on here as part of that pitch slam that will promise to give 5 figures or more to the winner of the pitch slam. So these are all things that are in the works. We also have Ask Wade Anything, Ask Alex Anything. So anyway, these are just small little previews that we want to spice up the show with Danos and bring some more featured content to you and ways that you can better interact. So again, Wade, I didn't even discuss this with you because it's no scripts. It's chat.
No, I think, especially for the episodes that we don't have a guest, we could always throw a poll out at the beginning of the week. And then take the winner at the end of the week, right? Right.
And then we can also bring on just 10 random people to the show.
Like we did with Danny with LA Libations. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Do you want to do that next week?
Sure.
Yeah. Let's do it. We just decided. Like there was no board meeting on
just
this
like
shit.
that. Just like that.
So what we're going to do next week is if you want to no cost on this. This is part of the show that if you want to come on for a minute or two and talk about your brand, talk about who you are. We ask you a question, you interact with our community or CPG community. We're going to bring on, let's call it 10 different brands.
Yeah.
In 50 minutes. So 3 to 4 minutes per brand. Get on here. We'll see you in the chat and we'll say, you know what, let's pull that people on. We'll send you the link to the show. You can log on from your phone, from your computer, no software needed. And we'll put you on the hot seat. But the questions are not going to be easy, Wade. They're not going to be easy.
What? Right. Well, they got to work for it, right?
Got to work. All right. So thank you, everyone. And have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. We will see you next week, same time, same place. That is 2:30 p.m. Pacific, 5:30 Eastern, right here on LinkedIn Live. CPG Vibes, episode 67 in the books. Wade, love you, buddy. See you next week.
Take care.
Take care, everyone.